Volt Switch, Shadow, Alolan Graveler in the Electric Cup. I'm revisiting a team I ran last time Electric Cup was around in the Great League, and yeah, I really love using the Shadow, Alolan Graveler as a safe swap. Let me show you how you can use it too. Alright, so we're gonna just start off our battles here, and I'm gonna try to show you how you can run this team against different types of leads. So we are leading Hisuian Electrode using Alolan Shadow Graveler as a safe swap and trying to use Galvantula as a closer. I think Galvantula is definitely one of the better closers in the Electric Cup, especially since I'm running Energy Ball to help deal with the Alolan Golem Graveler lines. So this first match is already just pretty good alignment. We just have to maintain our alignment. So we had the Electrode versus Lantern, and now we are bringing in our Graveler here on the Galvantula. And the reason why I like running Volt Switch Graveler over the Rock Throw for this team in particular is that a lot of times if we lose to like a Galvantula lead and they have a Lantern safe swap, we can actually flip the Lantern safe swap, especially if they don't shield the Stone Edge, not paying attention and noticing them actually Volt Switch and not Rock Throw. So yeah, this match, as you can tell, this very first battle, I was jumping back into the Electric Cup. This first set, I'm kind of like jumping into the Electric Cup for the first time this season. But I just wanted to revisit one of my older teams because I really enjoyed playing this at the very tail end. This was probably a team, like one of the last videos I made right before the format left us. And honestly, this team is really fun to use. I mean, the battles are getting tougher. I mean, I feel like this is a little bit more try hard of me this early in the season to try to run something like this, but yeah, I was getting some nice results running this line this early in the season, and I figured it'd be worth sharing it because I don't feel like this video got as much traction as some of my other ones during the Electric Cup. And I personally really enjoy using Volt Switch Alolan Graveler here in this format. So, yeah, we get the Galvantula matchup. So yeah, for the most part, we have the shield advantage. So, oh no, we didn't, excuse me. Yeah, we have the energy advantage is what I meant to say. So we are able to just barely get there and remove the Galvantula, and that will be the game for the most part. So yeah. In this next battle, we are going to get a Galvantula lead. I'm going to showcase how I would switch typically. So this situation is going to be very dependent on what our opponent does. If they don't shield the Stone Edge, that's good. If they do shield it, that's not the best case scenario, but I will trade a shield and try to go for a second Stone Edge. The thing is, it's not that great, but if this is what they end up doing, we have to just try our best regardless. So they make a great call and they actually shield twice. So I'm going to bring in Electrode, and my best case scenario here at this point is to try to just generate energy because 2 wild charges on Galvantula will be lethal from Electrode, and they do end up switching in their Galvantula here to, I assume, to maybe take some sort of grass move here. And unfortunately, I can't throw both wild charges faster than the Galvantula can actually get to a move. So I decided to just undertap and try to generate a slight bit of energy here on Galvantula. Unfortunately, they will be able to throw a Surf on me, and I'm not really in the best position to go for some sort of farm down here. So I'm pretty confident that no matter what they have in the back, it's going to be GG. I mean, maybe if it was like, yeah, even if it's a Hisuian Electrode, we wouldn't have been able to one-shot it with a lunge. And they do end up having Ampharos, so that will be the game. They will Brutal Swing my Electrode, or Dragon Pulse even. Yeah, makes sense. So, yeah, this first set, I definitely feel like made some, I wouldn't even say it's like mistakes. It's really just like great calls from my opponent there in the second one. I usually like to play the safe swap extremely aggressive, and this person actually does the smarter play, which is lunge and then switch out. So if I was facing my own team and I was running a similar line, I would definitely just stay in with Galvantula on the Graveler, go for a lunge, and then switch in Lantern, because that makes the switch so much more difficult for me. And as you can see, I actually end up committing 2 shields to try to just win switch, which honestly really wasn't worth it in the end. And them having multiple shields with a Galvantula against my team, which is essentially going to get dominated by their Galvantula at this point, yeah, that's not looking too good for me. So yeah, that's going to be a game. Like, there's really not much I'm going to be able to do here. I don't have enough energy on Graveler. Oh wait, actually I do have enough to throw Rock Blast. But this won't really matter much because we aren't going to be able to outpace, and they have enough energy to kind of just take care of Galvantula at this point. Plus, they still have their back line. So yeah, that's pretty much GG for me here in this match. Definitely a tough set, trying to get used to things, but Electric Cup is a format that is very much dependent on how you shield, how you preserve energy, all of that. Like, everything really is stripped down to the basics of the game, and really like amplifies like how you have to deal with it and play it. So 2-2 currently in this first set, and yeah, honestly, the battles are tough, so it's not that big of a deal. It's more about, and most of these matches aren't even necessarily unwinnable. It's just that our opponents make good shields, and we also maybe could afford to bait occasionally, break the mold of what I'm used to doing with this team. But yeah, for the most part, I do feel like it's better to be a little more aggressive with this team in general. And I will like explain a little bit more with different leads, like what I like to do. There's I think at this second set, I have a great example of lost leads and how I deal with the switches. But yeah, in this match, we make the amazing call and catch a discharge. I knew that we were going to get hit by a discharge there, and thankfully I did catch it, just to like make this a little bit more doable for us in the end game. I'm going to go straight Stone Edge, knowing that they have the shield, and they actually don't shield, which puts me in a really nice situation. I'm thinking that they just knew they wanted to at least preserve their shield for Galvantula in the back line. But now we can bring in our own Galvantula, and we do have shield advantage in this match. Even though they have the energy advantage, having that shield will allow us to take away some massive damage here from lunge, and then we can throw our own lunge, which will now neutralize their attack a bit. So yeah, it's pretty much just GG at this point. Like, we can't be knocked down by their lunge. And I actually forgot I saved a wild charge on this Electrode, but I actually make the safe swap. So I mean, I could have just switched to Electrode realistically and just finished the match faster, but I kind of just forgot it was there. It's a 3-2 set there to start out this video. But yeah, I was just trying to get adjusted back to the meta in this format again when I was playing through the set. I feel like, for the most part, my opponents played really well, so it was not easy to try to do what I had to do there. So in this next set, we get Shadow Magneton, very spicy in this format. I mean, I don't think it's necessarily a bad pick by any means. It's very strong, even when we're getting hit by neutral or resisted attacks. It's just that there is hidden power, ground, Luxray, and I feel like this would just get annihilated by it. I mean, there are the golems and such still, but I feel like the golems offer so much value with like the rock fast attack for the most part. But yeah, we end up bringing in the Graveler here. We do get like that Stone Edge connected, which is super clutch. They bring Lantern on us, as you can tell. And yeah, at this point, they can switch out because we brought in our Graveler, the farm down Magneton. So I wanted to bring Galvantula, thinking if they do have Galvantula in the back line, then we'll have a little bit of an energy lead, and that will be really beneficial for us, considering that our shield situation is also better. So yeah, at this point, I decide, oh wait, it was cross poison, you know? Like, I realized, I knew it was cross poison, but I showed the first one just because, and yeah, I let the second one go through, knowing that I could probably just take it to the face, barely. And I wanted to preserve my Electrode to help finish off the Lantern in the end. So GG's there. In this next match, we get Lone Golem. So I made a video with a Lone Golem on it, which I think is really good too as a lead. But typically when I face any of these like Golem lines that have Rock Throw, I always go for I build up to an energy ball, but I throw Wild Charge and I switch directly to Graveler. That way I can get a shield, and Graveler is actually a pretty good safe swap in that scenario. And in this match, it looks like we're switching simultaneously, and I just happen to catch their Galvantula with my Graveler, so that puts me in such a good position where I'm going to be able to safely flip this switch. In comes the Golem. I'm just going to let the Rock Blast go through and remove my Graveler. And I'm going to bring in Electrode, and I'm pretty sure they don't switch out in time, and I just smack it with an energy ball. And then from there, we can, I think they might have Electrode in the back. Yeah, and then I just bring in Galvantula and they top left. It makes sense. You know, it's pretty much game at that point. So we get an Ampharos, a Shadow Ampharos lead. Some of these, like a Pokemon like Ampharos actually can be a little tricky to deal with occasionally, just because it does have some great coverage with like being able to hit electric types with a Dragon move and Brutal Swing. So that can be a little annoying overall, like it being spammy and being able to hit with like a lot of neutral damage. But yeah, sometimes they actually run Trailblaze too. I've seen Trailblaze in this format. I decided to just throw a move, and then I'm going to bring in my Alolan Graveler to try to generate energy. I kind of overtap a little too long here, so you end up committing my shield. I was hoping to just, I could have just thrown the Rock Blast, but I was trying to get a little bit of extra energy. Not necessarily worth it, if you ask me, but we do end up throwing the Stone Edge, and it puts us in a very unique position where I'm going to safe swap into Galvantula, try to take one move to the face, because we're pretty much down to the wire at this point. And they do end up having Electrode here, and I'm going to throw my Lunge, and I think I just barely live a Wild Charge, which doesn't really matter, but at this point, the Electrode's so low, I think I bring Graveler, and I try my best to just get to that Rock Blast. And yeah, because it is a Spark Lantern, we actually are just barely able to get there. Like, oh my gosh, that was really close. GG's. So we get a Graveler lead, and pretty much exactly how I played the Golem. I'm going to build up to the Energy Ball, but I'm going to throw Wild Charge. I'm going to switch directly to my Shadow Graveler here. Oh, actually, in this one I play it slightly different. Why did I play this different? I'm not sure, actually, why I played this a little bit different. I don't know. But I'm actually kind of interested that I played this a little bit different. So I typically don't like staying in after I throw the first Wild Charge, because the Rock Throw damage does end up racking up. Yeah, I think I just shield and farm down with Galvantula here. This is very... I mean, I guess you could adapt, but I usually tend to follow a very, like, similar playstyle when I'm playing against different team archetypes. They make a crazy call and they don't shield Graveler here. I thought that was insane, because I could have thrown the Energy Ball, but maybe also a really good call at the end of the day. Fortunately, we are able to overcome our mistakes in this fight, and I do get a lunge off on the Ampharos, so pretty much forces them to throw a move because they're afraid of getting hit. Ironically though, they do end up throwing Trailblaze, which doesn't do enough damage, and I end up throwing the Energy Ball. That was actually probably one of my quickest react. I'm getting old, and I feel like I'm not as fast at reacting in this game as I once was. But yeah, I felt pretty proud that I didn't just die with all that energy. I actually still threw that Energy Ball. I feel like in most cases I would have just died with all that energy. But we get the Luxray lead, and we stay in, kind of throwing the Energy Ball or whatever. But they end up switching out, and we are preserving our energy, so that works out really nice, because we can throw a double Wild Charge, which does force the Galvantula to commit a shield. We do... I think they overtapped here, and pretty much I get a shield back, and I can commit one of my shields and just go for a farm down. So, looking pretty good. Getting an energy lead on Galvantula is typically just a great thing in this format, but I do feel like Cross Poison Lunge is a really great moveset, especially if you're dealing with a mirror match. But I just personally enjoy, especially on this team, energy ball because of the golem line, and also it's good for just nuking Lantern if we really need to get some massive damage off. But in comes the Electrode again. I think what I end up doing is bringing in Graveler to take a Psychic thing. Definitely a little strange how I play this too, but I really wanted to preserve my Galvantula. I think what I wanted to do was just go for a straight farm down, and I decided to go for the Stone Edge into Lantern, which will be a good enough damage to remove it. So we really just need enough energy in that fight to overcome the final Pokemon. And we do end up going 5-0 that set in really tough battles. So GG's to all my opponents there. And yeah, I know like Alolan Graveler might not be the most accessible Pokemon, since you have to have gotten it from a rocket stop and also been able to get rid of frustration. But yeah, if you do by chance have one and you're interested in trying out Volt Switch Graveler, I do like the way this team is functioned. I mean, the Volt Switch variant is better just for spamming your rock moves on the meta overall. And it's a little bulkier than you'd like. I mean, especially in this format, it comes off a little bit bulkier than it actually is, just because most of the attacks that are being used in this format are neutral or resisted for the most part. So yeah, as you can see, we do get the Lantern safe swap here, and pretty much if we connect this Stone Edge, that's such a good situation overall, because we can farm down with Volt Switch at that point. There are some situations where we could actually just throw Rock Blast and either force a shield or just destroy the switch. But I think a lot of times it's better just to kind of like save that energy for whatever comes on back in, because a lot of times you can just throw a Stone Edge onto the another Pokemon after the Lantern before you get removed from the field. So we do get a Galvantula lead. I always switch into my Graveler safe swap here. We get another Lantern safe swap. This is a very common archetype in this format. This exact same structure, like a Galvantula, and they'll switch into their Lantern as a safe swap. So since I decided to shield, I'm just going to opt out and decide, you know what, I'm just going to let my Graveler go. I'm trying to adjust a bit in these scenarios, like if they decide to shield or not. And like in one of my earlier battles, I was trying to build up energy with my Electrode with my 2 shields and try to scare, well, you know, just try to build up enough energy to throw wild charges at Galvantula when it comes back in. But because we end up having the 2 shield scenario, I play it a little more hastily. I could have probably gained a little bit more energy and put myself in a better position with Electrode. But I figured, you know, we have 2 shields versus their 0. We know that they have Galvantula, and more than likely they have Hisuian Electrode in the back. That's a common team. And yeah, that's why I played the way I played, because it's either going to be a Golem Graveler here, or it's going to be a Hisuian Electrode majority of the time. And if it's Hisuian Electrode, it's good for us because at least our closer beats their closer in theory. So we get the Lantern lead. They switch in the Plusle, which I thought was kind of crazy. Like, I mean, I don't think it's like necessarily worse than Minnow, but I don't know why it's not. I don't know why I like never see this one versus Manu. I forget like the differences of it, but I decided to just shield, bring in Graveler, try to go for a farm down with the Volt Switch to build up some energy, and I do commit a shield against the Grassant, of course. They bring in Lantern, they don't shield at all. It's a very common occurrence where they suspect we're either going to bait with Rock Blast, or maybe they're not paying attention that I am Volt Switch. So if they're not paying attention that I'm Volt Switch, they're going to assume every time I throw a Stone Edge, it's a Rock Blast, which is just advantageous overall. Because Volt Switch Graveler is not that common in this format, even though I do feel like it's pretty decent if you can get the alignment correctly. But yeah, as you can see here, we're going to try doing our best. I think what I'm thinking at this point is, you know, I'm going to commit the shield, but realistically, I don't think I have a really great way to deal with this. But I did have the energy on my Electrode, so I knew once I got that shield down, all I needed to do was switch directly to my Electrode and go for Wild Charge. And I am able to just barely pull off the end game here with another Wild Charge into Lantern. So GG's to my opponent. We do get the Minu lead, and yeah, I just stay in. I mean, I think it's quick attack for its fast attack, so it does kind of start to add up and rack up damage. But yeah, from here we throw the energy ball. They're throwing Grass Knot. This is better in our situation, I would say. I will let this second energy ball. Oh no, I just shield. I guess I didn't want to take the damage, but they end up baiting with discharge, which is really good for them because I was really thinking not to shield there. So I throw that, remove Minu lead, they bring in Galvantula, and I'm going to throw one Wild Charge, and then I'm going to safe swap into my Alolan Graveler here. And they were trying to catch a Rock Blast on Lantern, so fortunately I was a little more patient, and I do end up catching the Stone Edge here onto Lantern. And I think I decide I'm just going to build up energy with my Galvantula to help finish up the end game here. So I'm just going to farm down Lantern, get some of that energy with Fury Cutter, and then in comes their Galvantula. They're going to throw Lunge. I'm going to throw my Lunge, and then I think I'm trying to catch the Lunge on them. It's really interesting because I think they end up quitting. Or I'm trying to think, what do I do here? I think I just throw the second Lunge, and then I think I switch into Electrode, and they get scared here and throw the move thinking maybe I'm like close to a Wild Charge. I got lucky here, honestly. If they would have just farmed down Electrode, it would have been game. So GG's to them, well played. Alright, so I think this might be the final battle of the video. We get a Charm Shoe here, which actually, with the Brick Break update, is kind of interesting. I don't really see it too often so far in the format, but having Charm plus Brick Break is actually kind of scary a little bit in this format. But again, I don't know. I don't really know if it really is meta in this format at this point. It might just be a unique pick that can catch people off guard occasionally. But yeah, I kind of like dropped the ball here a little bit on that situation, just letting my Graveler die with energy. And yeah, I think for the most part, it's just GG at this point. Like, very sloppy match. The Graveler is going to overrun me pretty much. There isn't much I can do. I mean, to be fair, in this little situation, if I would have thrown the Lunge first and helped neutralize some of that damage, I think I may have actually been able to just barely get to an energy ball and flip that match. But yeah, well played. GG's to everyone. Hope you enjoyed today's video. Definitely consider liking, commenting, subscribing. It does help my content reach a wider audience here on the platform. And with that being said, the Sass Squad's getting stronger each and every day. You have a good morning, evening, afternoon, wherever you're tuning in. I'll catch you in the next one. If you'd like to watch more Electric Cup battles from me, watch this video right here or this video right here.